What do you remember? What comes to your mind? Association.
With whoever you spend your time or you go together,
Okay, you spend your time with somebody with whom you spend some time, you say, oh, that's association. What else? Is it really like that? Sometimes people come to the program and they just, you're not there. Right? Sometimes wife is talking to the husband. What did she say? Where are you? He's there, but she knows that he's not here. Right? So we're not associated. So may not be the, even if you're spending time, it's quite likely that you're not associating with that person. Right? And sometimes you spend 5 minutes, sometimes even a moment. When you hear with rapt attention, when you hear properly, that's where when you start associating with people, right? And it's very important actually, especially in today's world when people are talking about a lot about positivity, a lot about mental health and this and that. It has become even more important. So the difference, what you just said, is not that with whom you spend time. The Drashtra, so we're going to take 2 characters, what we have just studied in Bhagwat Gita so far from the first chapter, is that the Drashtra, the blind king, is also listening to Bhagwat Gita. And Arjun is also listening to Bhagwat Gita. Right? So both of them have Bhagwat Gita. But the result is totally opposite. Right? So you can have 2 students and learning about same thing, but the utilization could be totally different. The teacher says you must become very intelligent or whatever, and the other guy becomes intelligent and they may have to break open the banks or lockers or something like that, right? That's what it said. A wise man said, he asked a question. So he took a knife. He said, is knife good or is knife bad?
Depends on the uses.
Huh?
purpose you are using it.
See, this is the answer. Perfect answer. She said, in whose hand? No, it's not how it's used. There's nothing good or bad with the knife. He said, in whose hand it is. Give it to a doctor, he may save a life. And give it to somebody, a rascal or a rogue, he may kill someone. So let's have a good round of applause. Perfect answer. So knife is not good or bad. With whom it goes. That's the power of association. I'll tell you a very beautiful story. So once there was a robber who was robbing people, and the police made a trap because he was a notorious guy and he was very famous. He was robbing every now and then, almost every day. So what he did, the police actually laid a proper trap to capture this thief. And the day it came, they were about to catch hold of this thief. What happened was the thief got to know. And he escaped into the jungles. He didn't take the main highway or the main road, but he took the jungle. And inside when he went to the jungle, and he saw these pilgrims were there, sadhus who were going for some pilgrimage. And he said, and of course sadhus, they welcome everybody. Yeah, you come join us, chant Hare Krishna. So the robber started chanting, and he was, of course he said, yeah, I just want to know you guys and this and that, and he just went with them. And then they walked whole day. And he kept associating with them. And they reached to a place where they had to take a night's rest, right? A resting place, kind of a temple. So everybody slept in the dormitory. He also slept. But sadhus, devotees, you sleep early, right? So Bhagavad Gita explains what is night for a sadhu is day for the materialistic person, right? And what is day for them is night for a sadhu, and vice versa. Sometimes you see today's kids, they sleep at like 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that, very unusual. That's not the normal natural bodily clock, basically. Ayurveda explains if you sleep at 9 in the night, 9, because that's where your organs start to rest, they start to secrete or detoxify basically. It is said that from 9 to 12, the rest is equal to 6 hours. How many hours? 6 hours. From 12 to 3 is 3 hours. From 3 to 6, it's 1.5. And after 6, whether you sleep or not sleep, it doesn't make a difference to the body. To the body. You may think, oh, I slept, but actually, it's no difference to the body. And typically, body will need roughly around 6 hours of rest, minimum. Depends, 6, 7. So if you sleep at 9, you can imagine what happens. That's the main biological clock. Anyway, the thief, coming to the thief. Now, thief is not used to sleep, right, during the night. That's why he's a thief. So he got up, and his hands started to itch because he needs something, what to do. But these are all some simple Babajis, simple sadhus. But he still went and, he took out some stuff from here and there. And then he, of course, ran away. But while he was running away, he was feeling something in him had changed because of the association. So he was thinking, what kind of rascal I am? They gave me shelter. They gave me food. They gave me their association. They gave me their trust and what I'm doing. So he went back because of that good association. He went back and kept these stuff back in their bags and tried to sleep. And next day morning, all these sadhus woke up, these devotees, and they saw him. They said, whose item is this? Whose item is this? And somebody's item is. Every items were mismatched actually. And he raised his hand. He said, my dear sirs, I have a confession. He said, I actually am a robber. I'm a thief. And I did this. And I took all of this, but then I felt guilty. But then when I came back, I didn't know which item belonged to whom. So I just put it just like that. So because of that association of these saintly people, even a thief, actually, his heart got transformed. The power of association is in the transformation of heart. That is when you should understand that I have associated. From your heart, there's a transformation that takes place. Otherwise, it's not association at all. So, let's see if I can. Who's? That's me. Oh. See.
एक काम करते हैं मोबाइल से करते हैं
Somebody has to take control of it. Anyway, so we continue. So, now Bhagavad Gita, we also saw the same thing, these two characters, Dhritarashtra and Arjuna. Both had association, both were thinking of Krishna, hearing Bhagavad Gita from Krishna. And, yeah, you can put it here. It's no different from Krishna. So, and there's a famous psychologist or writer, author, his name is Jim Rohn. He says, a person, a man or a woman, is a combination, a personality is a combination of 5 people. Average of 5 people he associates with the most. So, if you have a notepad or your mobile phone, you must remember who are those 5 people with whom you associate the most you will become an average of those 5 people. As a people these days in social media, they talk about this, you should spend time with positive people, don't stay with negativity, too much of negativity. Some people come and they just keep on telling you all the problems they have in office and who is doing what, right? All kinds of negativities. So he says that you become an average of the 5 people you associate with the most, right? And we saw in Mahabharata how Pandavas and the Kauravas, the kind of association they had. And even Karna, who is considered to be Danvir. Danvir means who's very, very charitable. Even his intelligence was polluted by the association of the youth. Although he was a supreme archer, even maybe sometimes Acharyas considered him more powerful than Arjuna, but because of the bad association, what happened? It led to his downfall. And you can see that in your own life also. You may have your own examples which you must have seen by wrong association, how even good people have suffered in life, right? Of course, we know this famous quote, a man is known by the company he keeps, right? And of course, we talked about this as well. Yes. So does someone know this story?
Yeah. Nantara.
Yes. The poisoned mother. Where did the poison come from? Right? Association. So we know in Ramayana, Lord Ram was about to be coronated as the prince, which means you will be the next king, right? And it is said, because he had 3 mothers, one his own was Kaushalya, of course the second was Kaikeyi, and then Sumitra. Very good, thank you. But Kaikeyi loved Ram like her own son, although he was a stepson, but she loved him more than her son. And Ram equally loved her actually back. But the mantra, her maidservant, hunchback maidservant of Kaikeyi, came and she said, you seem to be very happy today. He said, of course, it is the coronation of my son, Ram. And she said, he's not your son. He said, what are you talking? He's my son also. He treats me more than her mother. But Mantra had a plan. She said, if Ram becomes this prince, then you will become the maidservant of his mother. And your son will become the servant of Ram. So by her association, what she did was basically she poisoned the heart of Kaikeyi. The point is a deep learning for all of us, that even a heart which has a lot of love, compassion, and selflessness can be poisoned by the power of association. I have a very, very practical example in my own life. I had a friend, and we would talk quite a lot. We were pretty close, and he wanted to do a lot of social service. He was really into it. I could feel it. He had notes. He was, dreaming about it, coming out of the college, and this is what he would do. But somehow, in the 4th year, the final year of our college, he connected with some of the people who were not so oriented towards that particular aspect of life, basically contributing to society and things like that. And they were more focused on, career, money and everything. And I saw how gradually he got into this rat race. And I can honestly say it was 2001, 22 years, he's still running. And sometimes we connect and I tell him, what about those dreams you had? What happened to that? yeah, you know, just getting financially stable. Well, I said, never, there's no end to it. You know. But that was the power of association. He got that association. He listened carefully, attentively. He took those words in just like Kaikeyi did. The same mother who had more love for Ram than Bharat. Can you imagine that heart? That softness of the heart got so much of, it got hardened so much by that poison of associational mantra that not only she took away the kingdom, that is one part, she banished Ram for 14 years into forest. Can you imagine a mother doing that? That's the power of association. She was not just satisfied, okay, Bharat will get kingdom, it's okay, it's all right. No. He said, Ram could be a threat to my son, but we should be banished for 14 years. That's why in Indian, as per Indian penal code, it used to be 14 years. Right? And they call it as a mythology. It's funny. So in Americas and all, you can have life sentence of 100 years, 50 years. In India, life imprisonment actually meant 14 years. Right? It's because Lord Ram was sent out for 14 years, as per Ramayana. So this is the power of association. You cannot change the people around you, but you can change the people that you choose to be with. Some things are by destiny, you know. We came to Singapore, or you all came to Singapore. But you can choose. Your choosing today was a decision you took, right? A conscious decision to come here, to associate with people here, right? You could, if it's a Sunday, you could have gone to a club or a bar or wherever you wanted. But you choose to be here. So association, most of the time, is a conscious decision. It's something which you choose, right? How many of you know this? The fortunate hunter. You know this story? Yeah, it can be Valmiki, that's correct, but I have something else in mind. I changed. It's Mrigari. So there was this hunter called Mrigari. So Mrigari, how you would kill the animal? He would half kill them. He would shot an arrow, and the animal would not die completely, but he would not kill him also. He would let him die slow, half kill him. And the great devotee Narada, when he saw this, he said, "It's horrible. I understand you are a hunter, but you must kill them fully." He said, "But that's how I learned. My father did it, my grandfather did it, so I'm just continuing. I'm continuing the legacy, right?" But Narada said, "You're creating such terrible karma for yourself. You're going to suffer like hell." And because Mrigari started to hear what he had to say, again he listened carefully. He started to associate with Lord Narada Muni. And Narada, being pure devotee of Krishna, gradually by his association, he transformed his heart. He told him to chant Krishna's name, Vishnu's name. And gradually Mrigari actually overcame this tendency of half killing animals. What to speak of half killing them, he stopped even killing them. And it is said, after many years, when Narada came back, he was along with his friend, Parvata Muni, and he saw Mrigari from a distance, the same hunter. And what he was doing? And he was trying to come towards Narada, but he was like jumping, hopping here and there. And Narada was like, "What happened to him? He was okay. Why is he jumping here and there?" And he asked him, "Why are you doing like this? What are you doing?" He said, "Oh, you see very many ants. I'm just being very careful. I don't want to step on ants. So just being very careful. The same person who was half killing animals, like anybody, was very merciless, right? Mercilessly killing people or killing animals, was not even ready to even hurt an ant. That is what transformation is all about. And that's what association can bring gradually in one's heart. And I remember my mother was with my son playing, and they saw some cockroach or something. Normally you would just spank a cockroach or something like that. My mother just took it and she was about to. My son said, "Daddy!" My mother was, she practically froze because he shouted. He said, "He's a spirit soul." My mother was like, "Oh, spirit soul." I said, "You're creating bad karma." Oh, my mother it was too much for her. Of course, grandparents, they don't mind, if we say like that, who are you? You're my child. Of course. But if something child says, "Oh, is it?" And then she said, "Well, how do you know?" And then my son said, "Don't you know there's a cycle of birth and death?" But then my mother completely, she was little, of course she knows that, we are the culprits, but we taught him that. But she was very happy that, okay, that was something practical he has learned. He said, "You cannot kill him, because otherwise you get bad karma." So, and then my mother, since then she's very careful with my kids around even ants or mosquitoes like this. And normally a mosquito like this, right? But no, she doesn't do. So that is the power of association. That even a merciless hunter gets transformed into someone who doesn't even want to step on ants. There was a very famous tennis player. His name was Peter Bhagwat. He's a very acclaimed author now, and runs a leadership academy back in the United States. I have read some of his works. It's simply amazing. And he actually also met His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, in 1970s in the United States. And it's said that on one of his very important points in the match, he also saw some ants on one side, and he went a little aside. Actually, he lost the match, that point and eventually the match. But he said, because of the teachings of Bhaktivedanta Swami, I didn't want to step on the ants just to take that serve. So that's the power of association of a sadhu. That's what brings transformation of our heart. And that transformation, actually, you can see how you know that my heart is transformed is through your actions. You will see what actions I used to do previously, what are my actions now. Right? Otherwise, you can keep doing a lot of training programs. We have all these 1st January. All of you, how many of you make those resolutions, by the way? 1st January? Any still bold souls here who say, "Don't worry, I stand again. New year, here I am." You make those resolutions. Nothing works. So in order to give up negative, you must get attached to something positive. You need to understand the unique ability of soul is to act. You cannot take it away. Some people want to become desireless. Not possible. To desire is the desire of the soul. Action is the desire of the soul. And also even to become desireless, it's a desire. Right? So it's very important to have this, because there's no transformation. So what happens, you say, okay, I give up smoking in this year. I'll give up alcohol, for example. They are able to do that for some time, after some time they start again. Why? Because they don't have a higher taste. You need to have a higher taste to give up something which is lower. Not possible. Right? So you need to, that's what I'm saying, that association helps you to get that higher taste. That access to that higher taste is through association. That's what Regarding got. Regarding got a higher taste. You can even get a lower taste. Kai, for example. Right? She got a lower rate. And that's what I said. Association supports habit formation. That's me. That's me. I use it so often. And now we're going to talk about something very unique. We call him the Son of God. It is said, this is the story of Narakasura, a demon, or Bhaumasura. Who was Bhaumasura? Bhaumasura was the son of Vishnu himself, God himself, Varaha. So when Varaha got Bhudevi on her tusk, by that touch, contact, Narakasura was born. The son of God, son of Vishnu, Varaha Dev. Now you may think, oh, he must be a great devotee, right? But with the association of Banasura, who was a demon, he actually transformed into a demon. So much so that he created chaos in the whole society because he was very powerful, he was son of God. And then Krishna and his good wife, Satyabhama, actually had to come personally to kill him. So, we may come from, we may have seen, we may think, oh, I have a very good training, I come from a good background, good value system. You must have seen. But as soon as they go out, you get polluted. Right? So even Son of God, his mother was Mother Earth, the most compassionate form of Mother is Mother Earth, right? Mother Earth gives us so many things. If there is no Mother Earth, will life survive? No. Fruits, vegetables, water, everything is from Mother Earth. Gems, whatever, everything. But here's a son, but who got wrong association in form of Banasura. And what he did was complete chaos. Right? And then he had to be killed. And because he was son of God, who could kill him? God himself. And then Krishna came with Satyabhama and actually had to kill his own son. So, this is the power of association. So, when you're choosing your degrees, your house, your cars, your bikes, be very careful, right? Which brand, which location. But somehow when it comes to association, we just think, yeah, it's nice. Or good, bad, whatever. We don't do a lot of careful contemplation when we choose association. The other example is books. We must read books. Even reading books is like associating with the author. So that's why we recommend always, it is said, if you go back in Vedic times, even in Indian times, even in villages, I was just hearing one thing from Srila Prabhupada, that in his village, after dinner, the villagers would come together actually and discuss Ramayana. Maybe many of our homes it used to be, right? They would read Ramayana or Mahabharata, and while talking that same leelas, kids would actually go back to sleep.
Still there in villages, especially in the summer times.
Yes, especially like Bengal, I know, South India, a lot of, UP belt,
In fact, some of the cultural dances and all, if you see in Indonesia, that part, Those are coming
are from Ramayana.
the street practice.
Exactly. So it was a part of the whole cultural system. Basically, it facilitated good association. It facilitated a very strong value system in people. And of course, you leave your legacy through association. And how do you know about association is actually through education. That's what we are trying to do here in these sessions, is education. It's not about literacy. We all are literate. As somebody said, people are highly literate these days, but not educated. Education and literacy are two different things. And the knowledge about himself, the world around him, it's basically who am I, who's God, what's my relationship with him, establishing our lost relationship with God. That is what his real education is all about. And that's why I said that Dhritarashtra and Arjuna both heard Bhagavad Gita simultaneously almost, parallelly. But see the transformation that happened with Arjuna and what happened with Dhritarashtra. After the first chapter, actually, which we just finished last time, so we will take one text today. The Dhritarashtra is happy because Arjuna has decided not to fight. My sons are going to win. Right? So he's actually become happy now. See? Oh, he will drop the weapons. He's dropped the weapons. So both of them heard Bhagavad Gita, but one, we know, even after finishing the Mahabharata war, he had this envy deep within him against Mahabharata. And it is said, when the war was over, the Dhritarashtra said, I want to embrace Bhima, to give him congratulations, or to bless him, to congratulate him. Can you bring him in front of me? The king was blind, but he had a power of 10,000 elephants. Basically, his intention was to really embrace Bhima and crush him. Here's a man who has lost 100 sons. He has seen the most terrible of the times, but still his envy knew no bounds. Right? He wanted revenge. Arjuna had suffered so much at the hands of Pandavas, right? But he didn't want to fight. So revenge is a very dangerous thing. So what did Krishna do? What did Krishna do? Krishna made a metallic Bhima and pushed. And what happened? He crushed that metal to pieces and again then started crying. Oh, what did I do? I killed the Bhima. Krishna said, don't worry. We saved you. We saved you from that. So even the Dhritarashtra actually in the end felt, maybe I should have done this. So revenge doesn't serve any purpose. Srimad Bhagavatam explains that by the power of time, it gives an example. It says when you see the tides, right? By the power of tides, you see there are these grass, some twigs, they come together. Can you see? Right? In the sea, in the ocean. You see they come together. And then there's another tide that comes, and then it's separate, right? So he says, by the power of time, the living entities come together. A set of relationships and friendship and even enmity for that matter. It's a relationship, right? By the power of time again, they are separated. So it's the power of time. Of course, somebody may call it death. Somebody may even say it's a perfect relationship. We're going to stay there forever. No, there's nothing called forever. Because at the time of death, you have to leave, right? The relationship breaks. That's how it works in this world, actually. So that is the purpose of education. And Bhagavad Gita explains that education. is 5:18. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Swini Chaiva Sopake Cha Panditaha Samdarshana. A humble sage by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. It's maybe you can call it an outcast. So he sees the spirit soul in each one of them. Not that he's an animal and he's human and this, that, you know. Like I remember I was in South India and I got a copy of Bible, and the 10th commandment in that Bible they've changed. What is the 10th commandment? Anybody knows?
Thou shalt not kill.
Thou shalt not kill, right? That's correct. They changed it, thou shalt not murder. Because kill stands for everybody, right? Including animals. Murder stands for humans. So actually, you should not kill. Actually, there are some Christians who don't eat meat actually. They don't kill animals. They don't believe in killing animals. Okay, so that was one of the topics in relation with what we studied so far, is especially this association part. So when we are here, you must associate, even when we are talking or listening carefully. That means we are taking strong association. So today we'll just read a couple of verses from the 2nd chapter. So if you have your copies, or you can use your mobile phones.
Why can go to Vedabase and look for Bhagavad Gita?
So you can go to vedabase.com.
Yeah.
Vedabase.com.
Vedabase.io.
Sorry. Vedabase.io.
And go to Bhagavad Gita.
So we're going to read the 2nd chapter.
First.
So we're going to read verse number 2.
Those are in the WhatsApp group I already sent.
Everybody's there? Chapter 2, verse number 2. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha Kutasva Kashmalam Idam Vishame Samupastitam Anarya Jushtam Asvargyam Akirti Karam Arjuna. Anybody would like to read the translation?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets but to inferior.
Yes, thank you. So here, now Arjuna has decided, last time we discussed about the 5 reasons. How many of you remember the 5 reasons? My favorite ones are missing.
Compassion, loss of enjoyment, destruction of families, indecision, and fear of sinful reactions.
Yes. Here's how it ended. So compassion was one of the reasons. He also said, if I kill them, then I have to have sinful reactions. Why to get involved into such kind of killing? But now then he's decided, hey Krishna, I cannot fight. And now Sanjaya said in the first verse, in the second verse, this is now Krishna is telling him. He says, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? He talks about, he says impurities, which means impurity means something which is unwanted. many of us in our lives also have this decision-making problems when we don't know what is right and what is wrong. That's what happened with Arjuna. Arjuna didn't know what to do, whether should I really fight, or is it right, or is it wrong? How many of you have that indecision in your life? You're faced?
All of us.
All of us?
All of us.
You sure? Okay. Then you're at the right place. Otherwise, you should come here and then we would love to hear from you. Okay? Yeah, that's the indecision that Arjuna had. Now, Arjuna was no ordinary soul. You can imagine, we know the feats of Arjuna, right? He will see the image of the fish in the water, and the fish is rotating on the top, and he shoots an arrow looking down, right? And he pierces the eye of the fish. He was an ordinary soul. Gudakesha, we call it, right? First chapter. Gudakesha means one who has conquered ignorance. Gudakesha, right? Gudakesha. Conquered sleep. He would practice whole night. So he was not some ordinary soul. Krishna would not just become a charioteer of any ordinary soul. Right? So now Krishna is saying, how come? The great son of Pandu, what has happened to you? You're not able to decide what is right and what is wrong. But what should catch your attention in this verse is the first thing. When the first verse of Bhagavad Gita is, how does it start? How does Bhagavad Gita start? Dhritarashtra Uvacha. Uvacha means spoke. He spoke. Dhritarashtra spoke. When it says, if you read this first verse of second chapter, it says Sanjaya Uvacha. Sanjaya spoke. When it says Arjuna Uvacha, means Arjuna spoke. Now read the verse again. What does it say? It says Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Means what? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is Bhagavan. Now what is Bhagavan? What do you mean by Bhagavan? Especially in the Hindu culture, or culture back in India, Bhagavan means we got many Bhagavans. 33, what is that? 33 crore. Take this koti. But those are Devi Devtas. You can have only one God, right? So Bhagavan means God. So Bhagavan, according to Padma Purana, basically, Bhag plus Vak. Sometimes we say Dhanvan means what? Someone who possesses money. Dhan becomes the possessor. We say Bhagyavan, right? Bhagyavan means possessor of good fortune. So Bhaga, Parashara Muni gives a very beautiful example. So he says, according to Vishnu Purana 6.574, he says Krishna is Bhagavan. Why? Because he has, and it's mentioned, by the way, let's read which paragraph first, second and third. Can anybody read the third paragraph of the purport?
These three divines aspect can
No.
be-
The next one.
Oh, okay. The Sanskrit word Bhagwan is explained by the great authority Parashara Muni, the father of Veda Vyasadeva, the supreme personality who possesses all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation is called. Renunciation is called Bhagwan.
So let's remember this. So Bhaga means these six opulences. Which are these?
All riches,
All riches,
all strength,
all strength,
all fame,
all fame,
all beauty,
all beauty,
All knowledge.
all knowledge,
all
and all renunciation. So one who has these 6 opulences in complete infinity is called as Bhagwat, is called as God. That's the definition of God, a personality of God. It includes even renunciation. So that's why if you see these people, can you name some people who are very beautiful, very strong, very wealthy, right? There are people in this world, right? That's why you get attracted to them. Because this attraction is originally for God. So whoever possesses these opulences, in some minute decimal, you feel a little attraction to them. Bill Gates is the wealthiest. He may not be the most beautiful, but he has some wealth. So you get attracted. It's not always attraction based on only beauty, right? Somebody may be a philanthropist. He has given up. So you feel attraction to them, right? Because of his renunciation, right? Or somebody is very famous, right? Right? Or somebody is very strong, very powerful. Like I remember when I was in school, when I was a kid, we had this Rambo. Posters everywhere. And I remember my aunt came one day and she was kind of talking to my mother and she said, God save us. And she was like, God. Who's this rascal everywhere? Just Rambo everywhere. Not a single photo. She was doing like this, at least. So, because they're strong, you feel little attraction. And Krishna possesses all of these opulences, Bhagavat, basically, in complete infinite, infinite limits, basically. That's why he's Bhagavan. That's I said, renunciation, he's driving the chariot of Arjuna. Beauty, Gandharva Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham, Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The most beautiful thing is Krishna, who is, by his eyebrows, agitates even millions of cupids. Gandharva Koti, Koti means millions of cupids. Their beauty fall on the ground by looking at the beauty of Krishna. His strength, he held the whole Govardhan mountain on tip of his finger, right? Actually, Yashoda said he actually held it like this, but Yashoda said, Kana, you'll break, your hand will break. He said, oh no, come on. It's so light that I can hold it on my little finger. And some Acharyas say not even his little finger, but it was on the nail of his little finger. It's like that. Some Acharyas say that Govardhan was in transcendental ecstasy by just touch of Krishna. So he started to float. Right? So the strength of Krishna. Can we hold this chair for 7 minutes? In one hand? Or forget finger, maybe hand. We can't. Right? What else? Wealth. He had a lot of wealth. Dwarka, right? We all know. He had 16,108 palaces, or his 16,108 queens. Right? Difficult, right? Narad Muni would go to Rukmini's palace and Krishna is playing dice. He goes to the next palace, Krishna is playing, eating, having food. And he goes next, he's doing something else. So he had expanded himself 16,108 times. People sometimes just abuse Krishna and blame Krishna for having so many wives. Because we can't have. We become envious. How can he enjoy so much? But he is God. But people forget that he expanded himself. So he was doing different activities. As per the Ashtanga Yoga system, even if you perfect it, first of all, it's difficult to perfect it, but even if you do that, you can expand only up to 8 forms, not more than that. Krishna expanded 16,108. Right? That's why he's God. And renunciation. He's driving chariot of Arjuna. He's God. And that's why in the 4th chapter we will read, Arjuna is like shocked. He says, I treated you like a friend. So sorry. He says, it's okay, it's all right. And that's the power of love. So this is a very important point which Prabhupada brings, say, in the 2nd chapter. That's why to understand Bhagavad Gita, one must at least theoretically accept that Krishna is Supreme Personality of God. Krishna is God. That's why it said, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. For everybody else, it's Arjuna Uvacha, Dhritarashtra Uvacha, Sanjay Uvacha, the 4 characters. But for Krishna, it says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Okay? Let's see if we have any other point in this particular verse before we close. So Prabhupada, right after this paragraph, if you can go down below, can somebody read this paragraph again? I mean, after the. Same.
There are many persons who are very rich, very powerful, very beautiful, very famous, very learned, and very much detached. But no one claims that he possesses all riches, all strength, etc. entirely. Only Krishna can claim this because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No living entity, including the Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, or Narayana, can possess opulences as fully as Krishna. Therefore, it is concluded in the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma himself, that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one is equal to or above him. He is the primeval Lord of Bhagwan, known as Govinda, and he is the supreme cause of all the causes. Ishwar Param Krishna, Satchitananda Vigraha, Anadira Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karana. Next one, Susan.
Yeah.
There are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme because none can excel him. He is the supreme person and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He is the primeval Lord Govinda and the cause of all the causes. Brahma Samhita 5.1.
Thank you. So, even Brahma, actually at the dawn of creation, Brahma wrote a book called Brahma Samhita. So whatever is being said also here is connected with the Shastras. You know, it's been mentioned by the authorities, like Lord Brahma. So nothing is an idea, a hodgepodge idea, you know, he is God or anybody can be God. You know, there's so many spiritualists, they claim to God is totally different. They say, you are God, I am God, let's play with each other. That's one theory. What kind of God are we who's suffering in this world? How can God forget that He is God? Right? So that's we don't have theories here, speculations, maybe like this, or I think like that. It has no value. What do our predecessor acharyas, the great personalities, what they have spoken about it? What are the scriptures talking about? Bhagavad Gita, like we talked about Vishnu Purana, Padma Purana, which we gave the reference for Bhagavan, and Brahma Samhita, the 5th chapter, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha Nadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana. That Krishna is the cause of all causes. Right? And Ishvara Parama Krishna, that's what it means. Ishvara means controller. But who is the supreme controller? Ishvara Parama. Param means supreme. Ishvara means controller. Ishvara Parama Krishna. That's written by who? It's Lord Brahma. So from this book, Brahma Samhita, only 5th chapter is available today. And this is the first verse of that particular book, basically, which glorifies Krishna as God. And that's where the understanding of Bhagavad Gita starts. And that's now in 2nd chapter. So next session we're going to talk about the science of soul. So here, Krishna first is established as God. So who is God? Krishna. Then who am I? Is the spirit soul. That's going to come. And then it will be followed after. What is our relationship with God? And followed by what is our duty as human form of life. Now we've got human form of life. What do we need to do? Just eat, sleep, work hard and die one day? Is that what life is all about? Or is that something beyond this as well, where we need to focus on? That's something we're going to progressively move forward as we kind of move forward, by reading Bhagavad Gita. But Krishna starts with second chapter with, now the setting of scene is done. We saw the power of association today, right? We saw about the stories about Kaikeyi and Manthara, the negative association. Then we saw the positive association, which was the example. Narada and Brigadi. And Narada and even Valmiki, that's the same association, right? It is said that Valmiki was so used to just killing that he said, can you say Ram? He could not say Ram because of his terrible karma, because he would just kill. So kill in Hindi or Devanagari is Mara, like Mara, dead. Because he would just kill, so he would say dead. So he said Mara, 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 Mara. So after the second Mara, it becomes Ram, right? Mara, 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 it becomes Ram. Because he could not even pronounce Ram. So Narada tricked him. He said, you say Mara. Keep saying Mara, Mara, dead, dead, dead. But then in Hindi, Mara, 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 it sounds like Ram. So that's how he actually got mercy of Ram. Okay, so we're going to stop here. Are there any comments? Oh, sorry, then we are closing the loop. And then we also heard the story of Narakasura, right? Son of Krishna himself, right? God himself. Even he got poisoned by bad association of Bakasura. No wonder parents know about it, because you always tell your children, you should associate with that guy. Remember? Right? This boy is nice, he's a topper of the class, associate with him. So don't make just the marks the criteria, but also look at the values and culture the boys or the girls from. And then of course we read about, in the second chapter, second verse, how Krishna is Bhagwat, right? We give examples also, but also established it via Shastras, via Vedic scriptures, Brahma Samhita, Padma Puran, Vishnu Puran, we quoted, and Bhagavan we talked about those 6 opulences, please remember. Can we repeat it together? One by one.
All riches.
All riches,
All riches.
all knowledge, beauty.
One by one. Education, literacy, please help me. One by one.
All beauties,
All beauty,
all knowledge,
all knowledge,
All wealth,
all strength,
all fame, all will,
all fame,
and renunciation.
and all renunciation. Those, anyone who has that in complete full is Bhagwan. Okay? That's what we studied today. And next time we're going to be a very, very interesting topic. It's called the science of soul. Atma. As soon as you soul, some horror movie comes into your mind. But it's not as horror as it used to be on television. So thank you very much. Any comments or questions before we close?
So one thing you mentioned about this power of association. So in one of the class which I attended earlier, my guru. So he mentioned a very good example. Just follow ABCD. So what is A? A is association, that's what we discussed. B is books, read all the good books, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. C is just chant the holy names of the Lord. And D is the diet, the sattvic food.
Yes.
So just everybody remember ABCD, which is a very simple form.
Perfect.
And that is what we need to follow as a
Perfect.
regulative principle.
So today we read about A, association.
B, books.
Maniji said B is books. You read books. It's again association, right? C,
Chanting.
chanting, again association, because associating with Krishna by chanting his name. And D,
Diet.
diet. You associate with a devotee, fellow devotee. How much are you eating? 2 puris? I want 4. some laddu, some sweets. Of course, that is also Krishna Prasad. Krishna Prasadam is not different from Krishna, so again, it's kind of associated with Krishna. It's something like somebody may say, I'm too fallen for all of this. You guys are too good. Actually, one of my friends, it doesn't come here. You know why? What he told me? He said, I'm too bad for you guys. You people are too good, he said. I had no answer actually. I had never heard such a. Normally I can argue sometimes, but I could not defeat this argument. So, like an iron rod, when you keep that iron rod in fire for enough time, it acts as good as fire all the time. That's power association. You have to keep coming with time. It does have an effect. Okay? Any other point? Any comment or question?
You mentioned that there are 5 types of people getting healed.
Yes.
What are these?
No, different types. Whoever 5 people